1037 Ridge Road. The applicant is Terry G. Greco, who's requesting sketch plan review in association with the development of a 7,000 square foot single-story dental office on a 1.35 acre parcel located in the MC Medium Intensity Commercial District under sections 269-5 and 350-18 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Good evening. My name is Ian Cookman. I'm with McMahon LaRue Engineers and Surveyors. Here to present the project on behalf of Dr. Terry John Greco, famously known for owning all of the Get It Straight orthodontic offices throughout Monroe County. Seeking to build another dentist office here in Webster on Ridge Road adjacent to Brewster's Ice Cream. Looking to build between 6,000 to 8,000 square foot building with two primary professional dentists operating out of this building with 14 to 17 chairs altogether, orthodontist and pediatric dental care. With that said, we're looking for a site layout that'll provide a 3-to-1 ratio of chairs to parking spaces. Operationally, that means one person in the chair, one person in the waiting room, and one person checking out. That's how these dental operations work these days. Pretty efficient. So the site that we're showing provides 56 spaces, gives us about that sweet spot of a 3-to-1 ratio. Looking at zoning code based on a more conservative building layout of just north of 8,000 square feet, we exceed the minimum parking zoning code there. Looking for monument signage out front, of course, sprinkling some landscaping and some shade trees throughout to provide some more natural buffer to the adjacent businesses, along with some streetscaping along Ridge Road. The verdict's still out on how we're going to do stormwater on the site, but rest assured there will be stormwater mitigation on the site, while at the same time trying to maximize building layout and parking layout. Not a whole lot of space for traditional ponds, so likely going to be going underground with proprietary stormwater detention, water quality, and then I've got a little bit of a pocket behind the building for green infrastructure. So meeting all the stormwater requirements. One of the big obstacles with the site is going to be some utility relocation. We have a gas line and some overhead power that transects our site off of Ridge Road to the U-Haul storage facility in the back. So overhead power is definitely going to have to be relocated with our G&E. I think we're still in the design phase, trying to figure out how we're going to handle underground gas. Either work around it or relocate it. We met with PRC last month. We just missed the deadline to get in front of you guys last month. So we did meet with town staff and Mr. Kashani himself, and we've got some valuable impact, one of which, the intensity of parking and the use. We're gonna, even though we're not proposing a new curb cut on Ridge Road, we will be working with Keith in the engineering department in New York State DOT to make sure that we're not overloading Ridge Road. From a traffic count standpoint, we've also been in touch with the town sewer department, identified that there is an existing sanitary lateral available, and we're in the process of working with Monroe County Water Authority to ensure that there's also a service available so that new services won't need to be provided. It's just a matter of timing that. So, yeah, we're working with the architect to fine-tune the building drawings and design as we speak. What you see now is a pretty good close representation of the order of magnitude. I imagine when we come before you with the planning application, maybe some slight tweaks, certainly going to incorporate PRC comments and then any comments that you guys have here tonight. So with that said, I'd like to open it up and get your comments on what we call sketch or concept application, and then take that feedback into
Anybody? Any comments on it?
Is this the same Dell group that owned the property for 15, 20 years?
Nope, brand new owners of the property. There was a site plan approval, I think, half a decade ago, but I don't think that project ever went through.
Right, this parcel, if I remember right, Tony, was all part of that Gulf Key
Yeah.
development in the back. That
Yeah.
completely got changed when it turned into self-storage.
That is,
But it's essentially the same use that was included in those plans. The reason I bring that up is because it was part of that overall Gulf Key thing. One thing that probably ought to research is if the existing detention pond was built as part of that whole development was sized to handle this process.
Yep, yeah, we're in touch with the engineering department to see if we can get our hands on that original SWIP to see if that was accommodated for us. But yeah, great point.
The site's gone through, several different configurations over the years. In particular, driveway one time was a divided driveway. Now it's back to a single driveway. And the ice cream store still has its own driveway as you go away.
how could you get it over there now? I think that's what we discussed already, but
Oh, there was a drawing once upon a time.
yeah, it went over, but now it's,
Yeah.
it's garages. One nice thing about this setup too is not another curb cut on the ridges coming out onto the side there, so that's good.
No, it still works within it. I mean, the original concept of the parcel went out the window. So
Yeah, that's right.
the self-storage. But the idea of having a dentist office on this parcel has been around for
Mhm.
15, 20 years at least. And always having access to the driveway up to the road there was always part of a long-term plan for that particular parcel.
Mhm.
Previous.
Okay.
It is, we're still waiting for it to get built. It's kind of
Hopefully we'll do it this time.
Probably your biggest concern with the site, we've addressed it, is the drainage, how you're gonna handle that, whether you sheet it to some point through a pond, you can get to it, or underground in the driveway, in the parking lot, whatever you're proposing, that'll come in. Your building design, landscaping, you wanna show that for preliminary approval, you know what to do with the building.
Yeah, we don't. We got your
Okay,
feedback.
good with
Yep.
that. Anybody, anything? Pretty
For
simple.
me, it's just, again, it's being the road, landscaping.
That would be part of that's it, that's part of it.
One thing maybe consider, I'm not sure if this is the location of the building, but if you flip flop your parking lot with the building, it gives you a little bit more drainage in the back, but you could also get rid of your monument signage and just put signage in the building.
Yeah.
Right now, your signage is being blocked by the hot box. It's not there.
Yeah, that's something that we've been that's why I'm planting the seed that we may make some modifications, because not only drainage, but also it might help us avoid having to relocate that gas line.
Exactly.
Okay, anything else, any other questions? Good? What's that?
You want to say something?
Oh, you're from the conservation board, right? Yeah. Okay, all right. Oh, go ahead.
I'm Dennis Gorlick, I'm the chair of the conservation board, and we usually don't get formal reports at this stage, but we're kind of.
Get a little closer to that microphone, because I'm not hearing you good.
How's that?
There you go.
Is that better?
Yep.
My name is Webster. Okay, Dennis Gorlick, and you wanna know where I live as well? It's all Birch Trail, and I'm with the conservation board. It's interesting that some of the comments that you brought up were just exactly similar things that we looked at. We did a preliminary walkthrough a couple of days ago. And drainage, we were interested in how you're gonna handle the drainage because there's a lot of non-permeable surface. And let's see, do you have the site up again? I just wanted to see what it looked like. There's a swale on the west end that you've got there, you mentioned right there. And we noticed that in there's 4 PVC standpipes that are down because it's fairly low. And the question was, we were wondering how that tied in with existing or proposed stormwater drain-off. It looks like it's something that was set up initially to take care of excess and connect to the stormwater systems. Is that part of your plan? That was something I'd be interested in finding. And also in the back part, there's a little swale that seems to be dry between that and your proposed building and the storage area. It doesn't really show up much. It does dip down. It looks pretty dry at the moment, but it may get wet and it runs off into the back. So it looks like you're looking at that. That's something we saw as well. One thing we were concerned about was, I'm not sure exactly from that diagram exactly where the western edge of the property is. It looks like it jogs around in the back, like a little dog leg, and then comes out. And if you go all the way on the south, and then it goes up, right? And there's a little piece, and then it goes back. Okay. So we were curious about that, or whether or not any of the trees that seem to be between that product. There's a few really large shade trees that are there. I don't know if those are on your property or the next property next door, but they're big and old enough. Josh, I don't know if you can take a look at some of the photos that show, but they appear to be trees that, even if they're not right where you're going to have to be doing some clearing, they're big enough and old enough that you're going to have to be really careful on these trees, and then those are evergreens. But there's another picture that shows one more. And you can kind of see those evergreens, and then you can see just the branches of a very, 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 very large, it looks like, I'm not sure if it's a big one, but it's a very big little tree. The trunk is about this big. So if it's not on your property and you have to do some clearing under, the Conservation Board was concerned about how you can avoid getting too close to that tree to damage it, even though it looks like it's on the adjacent property as you work on the drainage.
So Dennis, can we have them flag the trees that are on the site that are good trees?
Excuse me?
Maybe flag the trees, mark them so that they don't get
We might
destroyed.
be able to mark them, but there's really only a small stand of existing trees, and again, on the southwest edge. I'm not sure if they're really on your property or they're right adjacent, but I'm concerned that if you go right up to them, could damage the trees, which has happened on some other development sites recently that we're concerned about. Like the fact that there's a number of, there's a tree. Okay. So it's that one looks a little different from that aerial view. The tree that's in that little dog leg, we'll probably need to check that a little carefully when we get to the next phase. I'm assuming we'll probably get to the next phase. So that's it. We can do that at some point. Now, there's one more thing. Shade trees. Okay. The shade trees that you have in your plan, it sounds like you're going to try to keep a buffer of trees in there. And that was something you're pleased about. So it sounds like you looked at it. Do you have that? There's one picture, the second picture from the last, or the middle picture. Yeah, those are the standpipes. There's 3 or 4 standpipes. I don't know if you've noticed those.
Yeah.
So does that indicate that there might be already an existing stormwater drainage system that you're going to tap into, or is that one of the things you still have to find out about?
Yeah, I can respond. Do you want me to respond
I'm not supposed to be the one who's
that, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So those were comments that we saw.
Okay, thank you, David.
So those standpipes are old cleanouts from the abandoned storm sewer that used to run through the U-Haul storage facility.
Mm.
When they built the U-Haul, they abandoned it. So where that ends up terminating on Bridge Road is actually where we're going to be tying into our sewer ladder. Other than that, I appreciate the comments about drainage, the rear drainage, and then the tree protection. We'll go out there and mark the trees that will be protected.
Save the good trees.
Yeah, we'll try to save the good trees. Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks, David.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody, any other questions? You good with it? Okay, I guess with that, pretty much covered it. For sketch plan only, I guess. You know where we're going with the building, type of structure, landscaping, obviously, you know how that goes. If you can fix that nice along the front there, that would be good. little extra. Okay, with that, I guess we're all set. Thank you. Thanks, Ian.